All right, everyone, welcome to Chapter 2, and this is the second division of the Tuat, or Duat, which is called Urnes. In the scene that illustrates the second division of the Tuat, which is passed through by the sun god during the second hour of the night, the boat of the ram-headed god Af is seen making its way along the stream which flows as before through the division lengthwise. The crew consists of the same gods, and they occupy the same positions in the boat as they did in the first division. It is, however, important to notice that immediately in front of Tuat, we see two serpents, which are called Isis and Nephthys, respectively, occupying the front of the boat. No carpet or mat hangs over the bows of the boat, and the Tuat is not represented on its side. The boat moves over the waters by means of some power exerted either by itself or by some of the gods who stand in it. In front of the boat of Af or Af, the way is led by a procession of 4 boats, which are moved presumably by the same power which moves the boat of Ra. The first boat has ends which terminate in bearded human heads, and its celestial and solar character is attested by the sign for heaven and the Utchat, or Utchat, with which its sides are ornamented. The object of this boat is to support the disk of the full moon, which rests within the crescent upon a support divided into 13 sections, each typifying the day. Thus the full moon as it appears on the 14th day of the month is here represented. By the disk kneels a god who is supporting Mat, which is symbolized by a feather and is described by the word Mat written between it and the support of the moon's disk. In the mutilated text above the boat, it is said that this great god approacheth this region, and he is conveyed along in the boats of the earth by means of their pride, and he paddeth along through this field and uttereth words. The name of the forepart of the boat appears to be the Ur, and in front of the boats is written Chief of the Gods of the Tuat. In the hieroglyphics above the full moon read, and those above the stern of the boat read, Field of him that beareth up Urnes. The ends of the second boat likewise terminate in bearded human heads, but each is surmounted by a pair of plumes. In the center of the boat between 2 goddesses stands a huge sistrum, which is a symbol of the goddess Hathor, and indicates that the boat is that of Hathor or of Hathor Isis. In the forepart of the boat is a beetle, which is described as this great god Neper. Above the goddess to the left of the sistrum are written the words, Their boats send forth their words. Over the plumed head in front is written in hieroglyphs, and over that, at the other end of the boat, Osiris crieth to it. On the side of the boat are these 2 signs. The prow of the third boat is surmounted by a crown of the south, and the stern by a crown of the north, and between the 2 scepters, which symbolize the gods Anpu and Ap-Uat, i.e. the jackal-headed gods of the south and north, is a huge lizard from the back of which spring the head of Osiris and a white crown. On the side of the boat are these 2 signs, and above the crown of the north is the legend U-Ur, which however probably refers to the scepter near it. Above the lizard we have these hieroglyphs right here. The foremost scepter, and immediately is in front are these hieroglyphs, and under the front boat are these. The prow and the stern of the 4th boat terminate in heads of Uriah, each of which is turned towards the deity who is kneeling in the middle of the boat. In the center kneels a woman without arms, and before and behind her stands a man who is likewise without arms. At each end of the boat grows a plant or perhaps a large ear of wheat, which indicates that the boat is that of the form of Osiris as a god of vegetation, who is known by the name Neper. The legend by the ear of corn in front of the boat reads, "The boat which conveyeth Neper," and that by the ear in the stern, "Collector of herbs and plants." The deity in the boat, or the boat itself perhaps, is called Hept Mena, F Tua Ua F. This boat is the boat of the god Neper, the god of grain, in the form of Osiris as the god of vegetation. It may be noted that its side has no utchat upon it. Now, in the upper register are 1. A bearded god with a phallus in the form of a knife called Ast Necht T, meaning Isis the Avengeress. Number 2. A god of similar form and attribute called Seb Kinbeti, i.e. Seb of the two corners. A ram-headed god with a similar attribute called Kinemu Kinbeti, or Kinemu of the two corners. Number 4. I'm sorry, you guys, I skipped number 3. The ram-headed god was number 3. Number 4. An ibis-headed god with a similar attribute called Tehuti Her Kenti F, i.e. Thoth on his steps. Number 5. An ape-headed god with a similar attribute called Afu Her Kent F, i.e. Afu on his steps. So I want to take note, everybody, that Her Kent F means on his steps. Number 6. A lioness-headed deity with a similar attribute called Kentui Tent Ba, i.e. cutter of the soul. All the above gods are in mummified form and occupy the chairs of state. Number 7. A god standing upright and holding a curb, scepter, or weapon in his hand. He is called Sekhem A Keftui, or the overcomer of the power of the enemy. Number 8. A hawk-headed god with the uraeus on his head called Eru Tuat, meaning horse of the Tuat. And number 9. A god who holds a knife in his hand and he has his right raised to strike. He is called Seben Hesk Kai Bitu. Number 10. 2 ape-headed gods called respectively Benti and Anna. Alright, so it looks like in the text 11. Actually, the two ape-headed gods, both called respectively Benti and Anna, are both 10 and 11. 12. A god with the head of a hawk and the head of an animal, Set, and Eru who is called He of the Two Faces. 13 and 14. The crook of Osiris and the upper half of a serpent called Met-En Asar, i.e. the staff of Osiris. 15. The term of Osiris facing the deity with the head of a lioness who is called Sesent Ku, i.e. terrifier of spirits. 16 through 18 are 3 goddesses, each of whom has a scepter in her left hand and a uraeus on her head. The names are Mest S. Techesis, Amama Keftui, and Hurt Tuati. 19 through 20 are the goddesses Sekhet of Thebes, Techeru, Ament Nefert, and Net Tept Ant. In the lower registers are the following. 1. A god standing Nebai. 2 through 4. 3 gods, each of whom has 2 ears of corn stuck in his hair. These are called Besua, Neper, and Tepu, or Pan, or Pan. 5 through 7. Sorry, you guys, the numbers in the text aren't adding up exactly. 5 through 7, 3 gods, each holding an ear of wheat in his left hand. Their names are Hechtah, Ab, and Nepin. Number 8, a god holding a knife in his hand called As Neter. 9 through 11, 3 gods seated in mummy forms. The first has the head of a horned animal and is called Amu-Ah, i.e. the eater of Phallus. The second has the head of a man and is called Akhabit. And the third has the head of a jackal and is called Nebt-Ta-Cheser. 12, the god Osiris, Unefer, in mummy form, wearing the crown of the south. 13, the god Kui, who holds in his hand a long lotus-topped scepter surmounted by a star. 14, the two-headed god, could be Horus-Set, called Hira, F-A-F. Number 15, the god Heru, Hen. 16 and 17 are 2 gods, each holding in his left hand the sign of life inverted. Their names are Hun and Hetchetchu. 18 through 20, 3 gods, each holding a palm branch. Their names are Neha or Nare, Maki, Irenpiti. 21, a god who holds a knife in his left hand and is called Afau. 22, a god holding in his hand the symbol of year, who is called Fa-Ar-Tru. Now, you guys, the text referring to gods in the upper register reads, "Those who are in this picture praise this great God after he have come forth to them, and behold, it is their words which lead him to them. They lament where he passed onwards, having spoken words to them. Behold, these gods are they who make words of those who are upon this earth to reach, and it is they who make souls to approach their forms. Their work consists in causing to come into being the offerings of the night, and in performing the overthrow of enemies at their hour. It is they who guard the day and who bring on the night until this great God cometh forth from out of the thick darkness to repose in this court of the eastern horizon of heaven. They cry out in lamentation to this great God, and they utter wailings for him after he hath passed by them. Those who know them shall come forth by day, and he shall be able to journey during the night to the divisions of the great double city." The text which describe the duties of the gods in the lower register read, "Those who are in this picture give unto this great God the seasons, and the years which are in their hands. When this great God comes and makes a speech with them, they will answer him, and they will have life through the voice of this great God, and their throats drawing breath. From when he cried to them, he ordered them what they are to do, and he appointed to them green herbs in abundance in their field. And they supply with the green herbs of Urnes the gods who are in the following of Ra, and they make offerings of water to the spirits by the command of this great God, and they kindle flames of fire in order to burn up the enemies of Ra, and there is a wailing to them, and they lament after this great God hath passed them by. Nebai is a guardian of this field. Whosoever knoweth this is in the condition of a spirit equipped with words of power, and the gods protect him." The 5 lines of text which contain the address to the gods to Ra and the answer of the God read, "The gods of the Tuat speak to this great God as he entered in with understanding to the boundary, and he is born over Netra into Urnes, saying, Hail, thou who riseth as a mighty soul, who has received the things which belong to the Tuat. Af, through guardian of heaven, thou livest, Af, in Ta Setert, come thou and cast thou thine eye in the name of the living one, Kapera at the head of the Tuat. Traverse this field, O thou hast might, bind thou with fetters the house serpent, and smite thou the serpent Neha-Ra. There is rejoicing in heaven, and there are shouts of gladness upon the earth to the entrance of thy body. He who shineth send forth light, and the Ura gods give light. At dawn destroy thou the darkness which is in the ament, in the name of Seker Shetau Ru'eh. Illuminate thou the thick darkness, O Af. His jawbones are to him, and Ra taketh up his position in Ament. Thy boat is to thee, and it is Thy right thou art guided along, and those who convey thee over the waters, and who dwell in the earth make calamities to come upon Apep, straightway on thy behalf. Thy protector is a star god. Thou art praised and adored. Thy soul passeth on, and thou goest onward, and thy body is equipped with power, and the regions are open to thee. The doors of the hidden land are open before thee. Osiris cometh upon thee. Osiris avengeth thee, and thy word is mot against thy enemies. Thou goest to rest in Ament, and thou comest into being in the form of Khepera in the east. This great God sendeth forth words to the gods who dwell in the Tuat, and those who inhabit Urnes, saying, Open ye your hidden doors, so that the God Af may look upon you, and may throw aside your darkness, and that ye may draw your waters from Urnes, and your bread from, it's unintelligible, and that wind may come to your nostrils, and that ye may not be destroyed and overcome by your own foul odor, and that ye may not be choked by your own dung, and that ye may untie and cast away your sweatings, and that ye may lift up your legs and walk among them, and that ye may stretch out your arms, and that your souls may not be made to remove themselves from you. O ye who live in your forms, and who utter your words of magical power, who are provided with your swords, ye may hack in pieces the enemies of Osiris, whose seasons are permanent, whose years are well established, who pass your state of being in your hours, who dwell in your estates, who have your barley and your bread cakes, who have loaves of bread made of the grain which is yours, whose word is mot. Depart from my boats and retreat before my image, that I may vivify anew this your field, the field living ones. My soul is among, that's unintelligible. You have done great battle on my behalf, who have protected me against Apep, who have lived life through my soul, who have been through my bodies, who established your seats of holiness, which have been decreed to you, that ye may exist therein. Who are with your souls by day, who are in my following in the Tuat, when I make my way through the night, and when I destroy the darkness. O grant me your help, so that I may travel on the following of my eye, and that I may journey forwards with those who go to my place in the east. Utter ye cries of joy, O gods of the Tuat, for I avenge you, for I order your destinies. When they have addressed this God, while rowing along his boat in Amtah, they cry out, and they bring him to rest in the field of the Nepertui, gods who are in the following of Osiris. If these scenes be done in writing according to the similitudes which they are in hidden places of the place, and if a man have knowledge of these words, they shall act as magical protectors of a man upon earth, regularly, unfailingly, and eternally. The name of this hour is Seshet Maket Neb Es. All right, everyone. Now that concludes chapter 2, or the second hour, in his passage through the Tuat. In our next video, we will be observing the third chapter.